welcome back. This is a Black Phoenix show and I am Nana Kagga. And today we want to talk about something that is so close to my heart. The joys of motherhood. You know, we're all raised as girl children to celebrate having children. And it's a beautiful thing when you become a mother. It teaches you a few things. It teaches you selflessness. It teaches you unconditional love. It teaches you to watch another human being that has your genetic makeup evolve and become a person, and you see continuity and you see where, you know, your lineage is going, or rather what you've achieved. So I want to say something about my 3 children and what I've discovered about myself. I was very, 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 very OCD before I had my children. Things had to have order, you know? I don't like dirty things. I don't like people touching my things. I always thought of myself first until I had my daughter, Nava. And then it all changed. I had to give her space. I had to give her priority. I had to learn to love another human being above myself. I had to understand that she would always come first. And the joy of motherhood is looking at these human beings, these individuals that chose you. Maybe that's just me as a spiritual person, but I believe every one of my children chose me. And they came to me and they had to change me. And motherhood is about laughter. It's about rediscovering your inner child. It's about literally understanding that certain things that had importance before don't have importance again. And it's just an amazing experience. I think everyone should experience motherhood. And it's also understanding that later in life, you will have people to take care of you. At least that's what we tell ourselves. You know, that when you have children, that you're guaranteed that when you're older and you're helpless, that your children will be there for you on lonely days, on desperate days, all that stuff. So that's why we have children, in order not maybe to be alone, but in order to prove to other people our fertility, to prove to people that someone did not marry you just for foi, you know, that you actually have value. In African culture, you don't have value unless you have children. So I have waxed about the joys of motherhood, and I have told you what a beautiful experience it is. Let me revisit motherhood on the other side. Ooh, motherhood. Okay, should we start from conception? So you have a child and suddenly your body is not your own because you are making a human being. Everything is not controlled by you anymore. The human being takes priority. You give birth. Nobody tells you about the sleepless nights. Nobody tells you about the crying child. So nobody tells you about the sleepless nights. Nobody tells you about the crying child. Nobody tells you that for months after you give birth that your body will no longer function the way it did. I think actually being pregnant is a lot simpler than when you first give birth. You suddenly realize that for the rest of your life, this human being depends on you. And all you're dealing with is congratulations. You're a mother now. How amazing is it? You can't talk to someone about sometimes the anxiety, the desperation, the feeling of loneliness you feel, because trust me, when you first give birth at 3 a.m. and that baby is crying till 6 a.m., there's nobody you can wake up to help you who will understand or who will be that selfless, not even the fathers. So you now become, what is the word? Indentured? Is that even a word? You're like a slave to this little person's like likes and needs, and that's, what is the scientific term for that? I think they call it postpartum depression. And some people don't understand that it is okay to resent your child. It is okay to have moments where you wish you had never done this. It is okay to give your child to your nearest and dearest and say, please hold this baby for me, because if you don't, I will do something that I might regret. Nobody tells you that it is okay through the life of that child for you to feel like some days you don't want to be a mother, that some days you want to take time off, like some days you don't want to be a doctor, a therapist, a cheerleader, basically give of yourself so selflessly that you forget who you are. And that's what we become as mothers. You are at the altar sacrificing yourself to the cause of motherhood because you reproduced, you know? So I want people to understand that it is okay for some people to make a choice not to have children. We need to stop crucifying women who just basically opt out. As beautiful as motherhood is just as bad as the prison sometimes it puts you in. And if you're not strong enough, if you're not selfless enough, if you're not equipped enough. When I mean equipped, I mean when you don't have a support system, when you don't have friends who say, you know what, I've got this. You can go out and have that glass of wine like you used to. Like you can go out and do your nails. Like you can go out and do your hair. Like you can go out and just basically clock out for 24 hours. If you are not equipped, it is a very, very hard thing to go through. And some women go through it and then they dump their babies and we're like, oh my God, how dare she? Some people are not equipped physically, mentally, financially to be mothers. It is a beautiful experience, but at the same time, it is one of the most selfless things one must do. So I say to people when they become mothers, I say, be very careful you do not dedicate your entire life to your children. That you do not forget even your partner at the cause of your children, because we do have situations where women will abandon even their husbands, their loved ones, and just basically focus on the child. You have to remember that those children will grow up and they will leave. And then suddenly you are left with nothing. Your entire energy has been focused on these human beings. You've been smothering them with love. They must be perfect. They must achieve things. And then they go away. And then you find that all that you have been living for the last few years is now empty. So, how do I kindly say this? Let's really know ourselves before we commit ourselves to another experience. Motherhood, woo! Don't even let me start on the damage and mileage on your body and your brain and your sex life. Am I even allowed to say that on YouTube? I don't know. But I just needed to share my feelings about motherhood. I sometimes feel smothered. I feel like I just want one day to walk away and not have that voice, mommy, mommy, mommy this, mommy that. And children require you to not get angry when they need you, because you're raising a human being that must also show love to other people. So the way we respond to our children is also crucial. We're not like our mothers. In the past generation, you could be a full-time mom. And now we're faced with a world where 3 months after giving birth, you must put your baby to the side. You must hand your child over to someone else, pump breast milk, go back in the workplace and outperform your colleagues. You know, it's not easy being a mother in this century. It's not easy trying to be a mother that straddles the cultural norms and the Western ways. It's not easy making choices for your children. So motherhood has changed. The paradigm has shifted in who we are. We're just not people who can just walk in and say, I'll have children and society will take care of them anymore. These days, it's selfless giving, and I don't know if all of us are built for that. I am. I'm not your PTA mom. I'm not one who knits for her kids. But I'll tell you, I'm a great mom. Not conventionally, but I'm a great mom. And I take time to make sure that my children know I love them. But I don't make them the center of my life simply because Nana must exist. And I hope that when they see that mommy is an individual, that they will aspire to be true to themselves, that they will aspire to become who they must become and not follow society's rules. So I don't know what a good mother is. I don't know what the perfect parenting method is as a mom. All I know is that, again, we must not crucify people for not wanting to experience the things that we are raised to believe we must experience, such as motherhood. So, Do not forget to comment. Write whatever you want. Like I say, these are my opinions. They're not the Bible. Tell me what you want to hear. Tell me what you want me to talk about. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Nana Kagga, and the show is The Black Phoenix. Let's talk about topics that you want me to talk about more, or maybe less, or we can bond.